Hello everyone. As we are implementing this calendar and it has a heavy dependency in terms of the utilities for date. Right now, like in our current implementation, we want to get the different parts, different components from the end state. We'll need to define several method and properties in order to get those information. And still, it is not that intuitive to get the value out of it. Like we are still writing like date.components.month, for example, to get the month value and still need to calculate and process it after we get the component. Why don't we just find a library out there that handles all of these? Date utility is so common that most applications will need to deal with it. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. So here comes with the lead in importing a third-party library when we develop our own library. And I also want to show you how do I deal with the import of a third-party library and how it works through to our target application. Of course, you can search date in CocoaPods and you will come up with several libraries. For us, we'll be picking this one, SwiftDate, for several reasons. One, it is quite a popular repository with more than 1,000 stars. It is updating quite frequently. Say the latest update, the latest commit was 21 days ago. And also, it is written in Swift. While we try to develop everything in Swift, we want to use our library written in Swift as well. And this library itself supports multiple platforms, all the way from iOS to macOS 10 to watchOS and tvOS. So this should be quite good in terms of compatibility. To start using the third-party library, just like any other case, we first need to create a pod file in the root of this current application. So I'm switching to the terminal and I'm now within the folder of the current project for that library. Create the pod file and I'm going to copy what I had in our target application. I'm going to modify the target to the one we are developing. And here, of course, I'm not importing myself. Instead, I will put SwiftDate here. In this case, I want to specify the version as well, because SwiftDate it is now version 3 and it has some quite big changes over the past 2 major versions. So just to make sure we are importing from Swift 3, we can do it like this. And then modify the other targets. Save the file and run pod install here. In the meantime, I'm going to close the project. After pod install, workspace will be generated, and start from then, we will open the project using the workspace. So now, as you can see, pod install finish, and it generates the workspace file. And then I will be opening this workspace. And now we have the original project and the additional project generated as CocoaPods. Let's try to run the application now. So for this first time, it doesn't make any change. And by the way, SwiftDate is a library that handles the date. It doesn't have anything for the UI. In fact, when this is run, that means SwiftDate is built into our framework. And because we don't need to change the code in SwiftDate, the next time I run the application again, it could be quite fast because it will only need to compile our source code in our application project. Right now, if I take a look in, say, our main class, the calendar view, and while we have date here, we can import SwiftDate to our current Swift file, and then start using the utility provided by SwiftDate. For instance, in here, instead of using the components that we defined, why don't we try to get date.month directly? So as you can see, there is a new property month available for the NSDate. If I take a look for the implementation, it goes to the file of SwiftDate, and it actually implements as an extension. It adds the new property to NSDate. Let's try to change this as well. See whether there is a property of year. It does. And now it is April 2016. We could run the application and see whether it is displaying the correct value. So it is displaying May. So seems like month is still returning the value between 1 to 12. That means we still need to process it by -1 ourselves in order to get the correct value from the array of the NS formatter. But anyway, it is simpler right now. And since we have the month and year properties from NSDate, we can remove our component parts in our own way of the extension. And this can still run. Right now, our library has a dependency to SwiftDate. When we want to import it into our target application, we only define the use of a calendar view, the library we are building. In fact, CocoaPods is a dependency management system. It could help to find all the dependency within the pod we are using. We don't need to specify SwiftDate separately. So let's try to run the pod install for the target application and look at the console for the dependencies it resolve and import. In the first attempt, when we run pod install, it is only showing HN calendar view. If I try to run this right now, it fails. And the error is saying that there's no module for SwiftDate. Somehow, SwiftDate is not imported yet. So we need to have a way in telling the target application that our library, our framework of choice, the development one, has a dependency to other libraries or CocoaPods. In terminal, we find our library folder, and then I'm going to modify the podspec file. At the very end, there are some lines commented. One of these is the dependency. We can specify the dependency of the current library. Say, in our case, it depends on SwiftDate, which is starting from version 3. Save this, and now go to the target application, run pod install again. Whenever the target application tries to resolve the dependencies with CocoaPods, it only reads all the related podspec file and then try to figure out what libraries you're going to use. So by setting the dependency into podspec file, this time the target application is able to find SwiftDate in the dependency as well, so that pod install will install SwiftDate to our target application pods project. You can find this in frameworks, which is the compiled version, or pods for the uncompiled version. Our developing CocoaPod is still staying within the development pods folder. Now I can run the target application and get those SwiftDates working in the CocoaPod we are building. So it is still showing as April 2016, which is great. With SwiftDate available, we are going to implement the date item with the changing value of the 3 months we are covering: the current month, the previous one, and the next one. The input here will be the index path of each date item. We will check the value of the item, the value of the index path, and compare that with the starting date of each month to see whether or what value it should display in each of the date item. To start with, I can first have a function call to determine whether the current item is staying within the current month. I'm going to implement it like this. There are 2 values. Day will be the day showing up. So I will pass this as an integer to our configure method here. In month would be a Boolean value to tell whether it is within the current month. And we will create a function here, say it calls date in month for item and pass the index path the item in it. Let me define this as some private methods which is only used within our current library. Date in month for item will take in an integer value and returns integer and then boolean here. So say I will define the two variables, date and in month. For in month, I'm going to set it to false by default. And then I'm going to write the logic to set the value to day and in month. And at last, I will return the value as a tuple, like this. To start with, I will actually find the weekday of the first date of the current month. Say for April, the starting date is on Saturday. Thus, I want to locate Saturday and make an offset to the item value so that it is displaying day 1 on Saturday. To do that, I will create another function here as date for item. This function will really returning the date number based on the item. So the date number will be integer as well, so I'm returning integer. In SwiftDate, it provides a property of weekday, which has a range from 1 to 7. 1 will be Sunday, and 7 would be Saturday. Current month April, the first date is on Friday, so we expect this value to be 6. But of course, the date here is not April 1st, it's April 11th. So I basically need to grab the starting date of the current month first. I can make use of the current date. This is the date of today. And then get a value. Say I can find the document here. We can get the start of month for the first date or end of month for the last date. So date not start of month doc with day. Since I want to take item into account, so perhaps I can do an offset using item minus. This is not complete yet, but let's try to call this function to see what happened. Say I will be applying the function result to day here. Just pass in the item. Let's take a look. So right now, by using item minus the weekday, it has an offset of 1 whole week. In fact, the first date is Friday this month. So I want to have a little bit of setback. What we can do is to add 2 here. So it shifts back to Friday. It is also true for all the other months. You can try it yourself by changing the date value. And the good news here is that for the current month, the first date starts on the correct weekday. So for any items before, we can grab the value from the previous month. And for any value, any item after the number of days of current month, starting from here, we can take the value from the next month. Thus, I'm going to create the condition for each of the months. For example, if the current item is less than the start date, date.start date of the current month, weekday, we need to add -1 here as the correct offset. This condition will be checking the item for the previous month. In this case, I will set the date value using date for item. And then if I just call this, this would be the same, like getting -4, -3, etc. So I need to add the offset at the value of the number of days of last month in order to correct that into appropriate value. And what we expect is for the first day here, the last date, it should be showing up as 31 because March has 31 days. To grab the number of days of last month, first I want to get the date of last month. In SwiftDate, we can do something like this. Say I can do 1 month from now or from date and provide our current date. So I can do 1 month dot from date and our current date. This value will be 1 month before today. And then I'm going to get the number of days in a month using month days like this. And then I will need to add else case. Let's try to run it. So now, as you can see, the values of the previous month is set. And now I'm going to create a condition for current month. Current month should be having a range that item minus the weekday of the first date. Where it is smaller than the number of days of this month, -1 like this. in this case, we'll be running this and set the Boolean value in month to true. The rest of the items will be the next month. So I can make use of this and then offset with the value of number of days of current month, like this. Let's try to run the application and take a look. We have 30 days for April, so for any item after that, it just minus 30, and then it starts with 1 again, like this. So basically, we have the calendar with basic structure showing up. They're displaying the correct date, and the in-month Boolean value here will be used as styling purpose. So eventually, I will pass in month to the date item, and we can display the styles according to the in-month Boolean value. That's quite known for today already. So let's stop here, and we'll proceed with the styling in our calendar. See you.